Power BI supports connectivity to multiple data sources, including relational databases, flat files, API feeds, SharePoint folders, and more. Before we start working with data, we need to get our data. Open up Power BI, and this is how your welcome screen should look like. We want to get data, so from the pop-up menu, we click Get Data. Within seconds, you will see a menu with lots of connectors categorized in different folders. This course is based around Excel files, so we don't need to worry about the rest of the connectors. We're only interested in the Excel connector. So I'm going to select the Excel connector and click Connect. Next, we need to locate the data file that you have downloaded earlier and double-click to open. Within a few seconds, the navigator window will pop up listing all the contents or tabs within the Excel file. To Power BI, these Excel tabs are seen as different tables. So we're going to be referring to these tabs as tables. If you click any of these tables, you get to see a little preview window showing you the columns available in each table. The preview will only show a very small portion of the data that is inside the table, so don't worry if you only see 10 rows of data inside your preview window. Once you decide which table to select, in our case, I'm going to select only one table, and that is the DIM customer. So I'm going to tick the box that's next to DIM customer. And instead of pressing load, I'm going to click transform data. If I click load, our data will be loaded directly into Power BI without any of the transformations that we want to apply. So I'm going to click transform data. Now we're entering Power Query inside Power BI. There are three important components at this stage. On the left, inside queries, we get to see the name of the table, which is DIM customer. On the right, we get to see name, which can be changed. So if we don't want our table to be called DIM customer, we can type in some free text. For now, we're just going to leave the name as it is. And the most important thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is the applied steps. The applied steps is something that Power Query does by default. So let's investigate each step to find out what exactly has been done. If I click on the first step, which is the source, we get to see the contents of the Excel file that we loaded inside Power BI. So remember guys, inside the Excel file, we had 5 different sheets that Power Query is referring to as tables. So we get to see the name of the sheet, their data type, which is table, the kind, which is sheet, and if they're hidden. So none of these are hidden. Right above this table, we get a little formula bar. Inside this formula bar, it tells us the location of the Excel file. By the way, guys, some of you may not have this formula bar available. So if you don't see the formula bar inside Power BI, all you need to do is go to the View tab and make sure that you have the formula bar ticked. If you don't have the formula bar ticked, you won't be able to see the formula bar. So please make sure that the formula bar is ticked. This is very important. The next step that we've got is the navigation step. The navigation step is loading the data in its raw format. Please notice that none of the columns have got actual headers. Instead of having actual headers as columns, we get column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and etc. Power Query is smart. It recognizes that the first row should be promoted as headers. So that's why by default, it promotes the first row as headers, and it creates an additional step called promoted headers. Inside the promoted headers step, you get to see that our columns are no longer referred to as column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and etc. But it's picked up the values from the first row. The final step that we've got is changed type. This is something that we're going to investigate into more detail in our next lesson. If we want to add more tables inside our Power BI model from the source, all we need to do is head over to the Home tab, and from Recent Sources, click on Recent Sources, select the most recent source, and the navigator window will pop up again. From the navigator window, you get to select any table that you want. All you gotta do is click on the table, make sure you tick the box, and unlike in our previous screen where you had the option to load or transform data, here, since we're already inside Power Query, there is only one option, and that is the OK button. Let's add another table, and that is the Fact Internet Sales. I've ticked the box, and now I'm ready to press OK. Once you hit OK, Power BI will start loading the preview of the second table. Whilst this process is happening, you may see your screen change back to the home screen and then back to Power Query. Please don't worry about this. Once the second table is loaded into Power Query, it will become visible. Since we are working with static data, we may sometimes get this message that the preview may be up to 4 days old. Feel free to close that. And this is how you add an additional table inside Power Query. In our next lesson, we're going to talk about data types.